Welcome to another edition of the Fatu Network News Review. Today, 29th November 2018. My name is Omar Wali. The veteran journalist and publisher Swaibu Konate has passed on. He was the man behind the News and Report magazine. And Landing Kinte, the former Inspector General of Police, who resigned as a result of Faraba incident, also shed light on or reacted to the report by the Commission of Inquiries. And we also spoke to the president of the Gambia Press Union about the demise of Swaibu Konate. But before all that, I will start with the papers and understand that Faraba killers police acted on their own. That is the Standard is reporting the Commission of Inquiry set up to investigate the June 18th deadly riot in Faraba Banta village has revealed that while there was no proper coordination of the police during the riot, no order were given by the police high command to shoot at the protesters. And according to the report which was released with a government white paper yesterday, the PIU personnel who fired on the villagers did so without a lawful command and therefore acted alone. This was disclosed during a press conference at the Ministry of Justice yesterday. And as we know that the Director of National Environment Executive Directorate and the Director of the Geological Department have already been suspended for 6 months without pay. And the alcalde of the village also has been removed, and the VDC has also been dissolved. And moving on to another story, hundreds of Gambians sexual violence. That is, the National Coordinator of the Network Against Gender-Based Violence has revealed that 1,576 cases of gender-based violence, of which 64.7% are sexual violence, were recorded in the Gambia from 2014 to 2017. Ms. Hadim Boj said this data was collected from reports cases at Canifing Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital and Bansang Hospital, Department of Social Welfare and the police. She said the youngest victims was 18-month-old child. And Ms. Boj made this revelation yesterday at Atlantic Hotel as the Minister of Justice launched a sexual and gender-based violence unit. And the OIC official says Gambia on track to host the summit. That is the, the Secretary General of the OIC Gambia Secretariat, the national body tasked with the responsibility to host the 2019 Organization of Islamic Cooperation Summit in the Gambia, has given an emphatic assurance that the country is on track to organize the global event successfully. And Car Powership briefed journalists on operation. That is the management of Car Powership yesterday invite the media to conduct a tour of the Car Powership station near the Banjul seaport. And Bansuda said Jammeh illegally gave land to Gam Petroleum. The Ami Bansuda, the lead counsel at the Jammeh Commission, has submitted that the former President Yahya Jammeh allocated land to Gam Petroleum Company in Mandinari without due consent of the customary owners. And in her submission before the commission yesterday, Bensouda argued that the allocated land, which belonged to the Sise Kunda Kabilo, was a customary land that fell under the leasehold when the government introduced the 1991 Lands Act that transferred provincial administration to the ministry. And on the Point newspaper, the Point also is reporting about the Faraba incident that the directors of National Environment Agency and the Geological Department have been suspended for 6 months over Faraba incident. And the government accepts the findings of the Faraba inquiries. And almost similar story, the Gambia on track to host the OIC summit in 2019. On the Voice newspaper, the Voice also is reporting that Faraba reports the Director of Geology and the National Environment Agency have been suspended, and Gambia on track to host the 2019 summit of OIC. And the Victim Center Chair urges government to clarify reparation and amnesty. That is Sheriff Mohamed Kijera, the chairman of Victim Center, has urged Barrow-led government to explain the issue of reparation and amnesty, saying many victims lack proper understanding about the matters. Reparation, as long as the victims are concerned, is a financial compensation, which is a big no. Since I think reparations will be based on need assessment through recognizing the circumstances of the individual victims, not all of them will share the same circumstances, said Mohamed Kijera. And on the Foraya newspaper, the Foraya also is reporting Justice Minister promised prosecution in Faraba Banta village. That is the incident which happened, and the Justice Minister said that 5 paramilitary officers will be prosecuted. And they also reported that the OIC 2019, we are on track, said the OIC Gambia executive. So that's all we have for you on the papers. Now we will move to a story, the demise of a veteran journalist, and the tributes are pouring in on Tuesday for a veteran journalist and publisher of Daily News and Report magazine, Swaibu Konate, who died on Wednesday after a long illness. He was 78. Family, friends, and members of the Gambian media are describing the late Mr. Konate as a man who dedicated his life to truth. Our editor Lyman Jai was at the veteran journalist house in Tipakunda, where he spoke with family members and friends.
Your SIM card today for the Real Africell 4G SIM and receive 1 gigabyte of internet data for free.
Yeah, boy. Ñun la waa Fatou Network ñu ngi laa nuyu ci deji oncle Swaibu nga xam ne si ñook moom ñu ñoo bokk liggéey moom dafa nekk koo xam ne suñu papa la suñu maam la ñu ñëw yëg ne dafa gaañu ñu ñëw fi tey pour ama yéen waxtaan ñu bëgg laa laaj rek yow mi nga xam ne yaay jabaram yow lan nga mun ñoo wax ci oncle Swaibu.
Asalaamaaleykum maa ngi gërëm ñëpp di nuyu ñëpp di wax ci suma turu jëkkër muy Swaibu Konate. Swaibu ku baax la, Swaibu bugga na mbokka, Swaibu bugga na njabootam gi, liggéeykatam mi bugga nañ, fonka na affaire journalisme bugga na ko. Du toog time bi mu ne mu ngi si binda, mu ngi si wax si radio, mu ngi si def lu nekka moo journaliste moo press union ñoom ñëpp. waaye ku baax la laa mun a wax ku baax la Swaibu ku baax la bugga na ñu bugga na njabootam gi ku leen njabootam sax bugga na la koo xam ne dem nga ne dama jànga Swaibu daf lay bugga te moom dafa bugga ku jànga.
Swaibu nag dama ko seede ne jullit bu dëgër la jullit bu wér la man ko ñaanal bu baax parce que ci mbiri journalism ci doyen yi la moo di first Gambian bu amee degree in journalism. Amoon nañ old journalist ñoom Francis Mola ak ñoom Dixon collègue yooyu wante moom di current generation moo nekk seen doyen moo fi njëkk a am degree in journalism head Radio Gambia indi ko fi mu toll nii so dafa liggéeyal réew mi liggéeyal nguur toppatoo njabootam.
It's a difficult time for me, but was a man who was just like a father to me. Since I finished my school at Muslim High School, I joined him. And the man had enormous respect for me. He had enormous confidence in me to a point that he entirely left the magazine in my hands to edit it, do everything. And he was somebody who is very accommodating. He was very accommodating. He was open to ideas. He wouldn't tell you that I'm the boss of this place. No. He was like a father to me. It's a very difficult. I have been crying since yesterday, but I know this is life. A lot of Gambian journalists pass through this man, and some of those journalists are one of the brightest in this country. Some of the brightest journalists in this country. The man was so accommodating. You come, he will show you everything. He will show you the ropes, and he was somebody who respects the ethics of this profession. Respect the ethics, the cardinal principles of journalism. This man was so attached to those principles.
Today I want to celebrate my dad. Yeah, I believe that his legacy will live on forever because he was just not only Swaibu for his kids and family. He was Swaibu for friends, Swaibu for country. And we just owe it to him today to celebrate his life and what he did and accomplished and gave back to everyone. So we are his kids, but we shared him with the whole world, the whole Gambia. Yeah, it's a tough time. You can't help but feel emotional, but we need to celebrate his life. And I do believe that his legacy will be here.
South Africa Global is pleased to launch Dalaba Housing Estate. Dalaba Housing Estate is our newest estate located on the Sukuta Jabang Road. You can buy a finished 2 or 3 bedroom house or service plots accompanied with a free fence and gate. At Dalaba Housing Estate, you get to enjoy bituminized roads, gated and fenced properties, solar street lights, water reticulation, public amenities, 1,500 fruit trees aligned in streets and many more. Make a 25% down payment today and spread the balance conveniently for 10 years with GTBank, EcoBank and Trust Bank. Terms and conditions apply. Wait, this is the best part. We are giving a discount on outright payments. For more information and exceptional service, please call our office line on +220 4410 Better still, call us on mobile or via WhatsApp on +220 376 2333 or +220 776 2333. You can also visit our website on www.tafafricaglobal.com. TAF Africa Global. Our experience is global. Our focus is Africa.
Those were the families and friends of the late journalist Swaibu Konate. May his soul rest in peace. Meanwhile, the Gambia Press Union on Thursday issued a statement expressing its deepest sadness and great shock on the sudden death of Mr. Swaibu Konate. Sheriff Bojang Jr., the president of the Gambia Press Union, spoke to Lamin Jai. Let's take a listen to him.
Yola, Yola,
Well, that was an advert, but we'll continue with the story. And the Gambia Press Union today issued a statement expressing its deep sadness and great shock on the sudden death of Mr. Swaibu Konate. Sheriff Bojang Jr., the president of the Gambia Press Union, spoke to Lamin Jai. Let's take a listen to him.
Gambian media is in a state of mourning. The death has been announced of a veteran Gambian journalist, Swaibu Konate. Can you tell us, who is Swaibu Konate?
Well, Swaibu, we often describe our veterans as doyens, as veterans. Swaibu Konate was bigger than that. Was bigger than doyen, was bigger than a veteran. Swaibu Konate was, throughout his career, from what I remember since I started journalism in 1998-99, was a living legend, was a living resource material, was a living library, an inspiration for young crop of journalists like myself. I don't know of any Gambian journalists who didn't have the opportunity of passing through the hands of Swaibu Konate. I first came to know Swaibu, I think 1999, just 98, 99, when I was still going to school and started writing for the Daily Observer. The first day I met him was at the Gambia Press Union, then it was at Fajara, and we spoke. He was introduced to me. I was introduced to him by my brother, Sheriff. Since then, Swaibu took a liking of me. We will talk. He was like a grandfather to me. I remember when Swaibu named Jammeh as a man of the year, he took a lot of lashing. He took a lot of criticism. People questioned his loyalty. People questioned his professionalism. But this is Swaibu. He will defend it. He will make difficult choices. He will make controversial decisions. But he don't run away from them. He will defend them, and then things like that. So that, that Man of the Year award annually, grew from strength to strength and is one of the products of News and Report. And today, I think News and Report, the power, the strength of News and Report, and the stamina, and the fact that, despite the odds, despite difficulty, despite security, safety risks, he continued with News and Report until to the last minute. And as a result of that, I think a lot of people had inspiration to start their own newspaper. And I want to believe this is one of the inspirations for Madi Cisse to start his own paper. As a journalist, Swaibu Konate guided me and so many other young journalists at the time, nurtured us, guided us, gave us life and livelihood. He was very open. This is somebody you could always call when you had doubt. For example, especially at the time when there was no journalism school, all of us is from classroom into newsroom. Then, of course, you have writing abilities, but then you always know that you're going to get stuck somewhere when it comes to ethics, the do's and don'ts. And that does not come naturally. You have to learn about them. So Swaibu was a school for many of us. We'll often call him when we were in doubt. Among the reports that I called him about and for was the April 10, 11. Just shortly before the riots, before the protest that resulted to death of many people. When the coroner's inquest report was out, I can't remember, but I was working on a story. But then there was some ethical issue, and then there was a dilemma for me. And then I had to call him to ask Uncle Swaibu, should I do this, should I do that? And he was always open. He was always open, he was always dedicated. As a journalist, Swaibu Konate stood up for truth. He defended truth. He lived truth. And he pried into the affairs of a very powerful regime. And today I can comfortably say some of us are enjoying the space that we have today thanks to the dedication, the sacrifice, the efforts of people like Swaibu Konate. Okay. He will surely be missed.
That was Sheriff Bojang Jr., the president of the Gambia Press Union, on the death of veteran journalist Swaibu Konate. Now, the former Inspector General of Gambia Police Force, Landing Kinte, on this afternoon had an exclusive interview with the Fatu Network on the issue relating to the Commission report. You may remember on the 18th of June this year, there was a riot in Faraba, Banta village, where the villagers were protesting against sand mining in their home village. 3 protesters were shot and killed. Several others were wounded, including 14 police officers. A police post was set on fire, and a truck and a caterpillar. We also understand that some houses were vandalized. A commission was set up to look into the case, and yesterday the Minister of Justice released the inquiry, and the former IGP, who resigned at the time, was vindicated, but other people like the directors of the National Environment Agency and the Director of Geological Department have been suspended, and you also understand that the head of the village alcalo has been removed. Today we had an interview with the former IGP. Let's take a listen to an excerpt. The Gambia Police Force Landing Kinte. You may remember the Faraba incident where paramilitary forces or the police intervention unit had a standoff with the villagers who were protesting against Julake sand mining. And during the demonstration, 3 villagers were shot and killed, and 14 police officers were wounded. You also saw that the police post was set on fire, the caterpillars there, the trucks, and some houses in the village. And a commission was set up to look into the matter, and yesterday they presented that thing to the journalists, and as you may know, the Justice Minister Abubakar Tambadou. So I'm here to talk to a man who was at the center of controversy at the time. He was the Inspector General of Police. Mr. Kinte, welcome. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Omar, and welcome to my house.
I'm sure you heard about the report yesterday, and what is your reaction to the findings made by the Faraba Commission inquiry?
When I heard the report yesterday, like I told a lot of people, I never had sleepless nights over the outcome of the commission, because I know my conscience is clear. As far as my involvement in the incident is concerned, I know what I said happened was exactly what happened. My reaction to it generally was with mixed feelings, a bit of relief, although the relief has been there ever since. But then mixed feeling in the sense that the PIU officers, I understand they are going to undergo some kind of prosecutions. Initially, I said I was not going to preempt the investigation, but the little I knew is they did what they did in self-defense. So I don't know whether that did not come out clearly, or there are some doubts as to whether that is the case or not. I am of the feeling that maybe that is why they want that to come from a court of law to say that what they did in self-defense. So I think that aspect of the outcome kind of gave me some real shockwaves, definitely. Yeah.
I can say you are exonerated from the findings, and many people are surprised about that. Many people said you have a hand in that thing. Is that the case?
What hand do I have in it?
Like you are the head of the police, and this thing happened under your watch.
Yes.
And you know, like they said, they acted on without a command. That's what the commission said. But others also said, well, these are working on the people. They were given rifles to go and guide a private property. Mm-hmm. So what do you say to that?
This, I'll be repeating myself if I continue saying these things. But all I know is these people are doing what they are supposed to do. They are doing what they've signed to do as police officers. I said it times without many, the PIU have the arms as part of their uniforms. If they are going for any operations, I remember they are the only armed unit of the police. So if they are going for operations, they get armed. So that is it. But with regards to the firing, I said times without many, when you are confronted with a riotous situation, there's a whole lot of stages that you follow before you can discharge firearms. But then there are circumstances where you may not be able to do a consultation. Like I said some time ago, there was some kind of spontaneity in terms of how the whole thing came up. The villagers just stormed the place and said, well, we are told by the National Assembly that, there's not going to be any sand mining. And before you know, they started, pelting stones and attacking the PIU. Okay. I don't want to make a case for them, but from the little I gathered, in the preliminary information we got was they did what they did in defending themselves because they were overwhelmed with the crowd and they were having all kind of stuff in their hands.
Okay, the incident was spontaneous, as you put it.
Yes.
Now, what are the stages in the event that a such situation arises? What do you go for? Is it the water cannon? Is it the rubber bullets? Or what are the stages in dealing with it?
No, of course, they have to use the non-lethal, weapons at their disposal. And then there was this tear gas canisters. I understand, I was not at the scene, but nature was against them on that day. If they threw these tear gas canisters, the next minute the wind would blow it towards them instead of blowing it towards the crowd. And I understand they've thrown all canisters they had in their disposal, but the crowd would not disperse.
The question is here, the big wigs, as they put it, have escaped from the hooks.
Yes.
Now is the young ones who have been sacrificed. Is it proper or is it right for a police intervention unit to guide a private property owned by a private citizen?
Omar, I'm also repeating myself again. The role of the police is to protect life and property, regardless of who it is. I said it times without many. This activity that we conducted in Faraba, we conducted a similar activity somewhere in Bakote. When the community got up and said a certain estate developer would not have access to a football field, that they don't own, they don't show any proof of ownership, and the developers had every papers at their disposal to say that it's owned by them and they have the right to develop. We deployed PIU officers there to make sure this work should be able to go ahead. So if you say because they are private people and they should not get any protection, they are part of the people, of the government, regardless of who they are, even if they are foreigners. There was a concern, and they raised the concern that if at all they continue doing what they are doing without police protection, they could be harmed. And we responded.
As far as you know, the police did nothing because they were protecting or acting in self-defense.
Yes. Well. This is the preliminary report that we have, and then I was not there. I was thinking by the time the commission ends, this will come out clearly. But apparently, it seems it has not come out clearly, and then they are going to another stage. That is to have the prosecutions go ahead. I hope the prosecution will reveal that what happened was done in self-defense.
So do you have an eyebrows as in reference to what happened to the PIU officers? We have seen the executive director of NEA suspended for 6 months, the director of geological department suspended, the Alcalo has been removed, the VDC has been dissolved, and July case lancing has expired, and it will not be renewed till further notice. But now PIU officers are going to prison for now. Do you think the commission is fair or unfair to them?
Well, I know there are very credible people that comprise the composition or that comprise the commission. I have no doubt of their credibility. I know they were sworn. I think what they did it, by virtue of what they feel is supposed to be done in the circumstance. So I am not in a position to critique whether what they did they are supposed to do or not. But I think, as far as I'm concerned, that's the decision of the commission, and we are not in a position to question it. Definitely.
You resigned to give chance to investigators.
Yes.
Did you in any way regret it? Because you said you had sleepless nights, but how about now?
No, I told you I never had sleepless nights.
You never had, okay.
I never had sleepless night over this issue.
You never had, okay.
Because I knew from the onset I would be clear, because my consent is clear.
Right.
Yes. So there was never a sleepless night.
Okay.
Times that many people are concerned, especially people around me. I told them, if people want to go all out to, put me in trouble just for the heck of it, but if it is given the circumstances and the information on the ground, I know for sure I will not be found wanting.
Did you regret resigning?
No regrets. I have no regrets resigning.
So if they call you back now that you have been cleared, will you go back?
If they call me back that I am cleared,
that the commission has vindicated you, you have been exonerated.
Yes.
They said you go back and serve in the police. Will you go back?
That answer would be there. This is not the time to answer that question.
I know.
If ever it happens, I think we'll have an answer for it. But for now, I would rather stay mute about this.
No, but somebody like you are so resourceful. You are a lawyer. You are studying Nigeria, so you will be so useful to the Gambia Police Force. Just a simple answer will do.
No. We have a lot of resources in the Gambia Police Force. We have a lot of resources. Besides me, a lot of people can do the work. I've been out for almost 6 months, and work is going on well. The current management is doing all it could to make sure that we do policing, in the best way possible. So I think even if it continues without me, definitely you will see a lot of things happening in the Gambia Police Force. That's a feature in the Gambia Police Force, given the kind of capacity we have, definitely. So even without me, I think they can forge ahead and then.
But with you too, the police can also make the police better.
We can also add value. We had a lot of experience, especially international experience in policing, and definitely we know when we are there, we will be able to add value. And, the little time we spent there, we added value. I have no regrets. In fact, that is what made me not to regret. The little time we spent there, we made a lot of achievements. I sit in my house and see a lot of achievements that we made within that 1 year. So definitely no regrets whatsoever.
Now, talking about this PIU, many said, they were there guiding, and eventually this thing happened. Is it normal thing for this thing to happen? When a situation arises and without a command or somebody giving them orders, they can shoot at people? Or no matter how, they have to exhaust all the means?
Yes, like
firing in the air.
Yes, firing in the air, warding off the crowd when they surge and all whatnot, and then using non-lethal, ways of doing away with the situation. Yes, but when it comes to the use of firearms, if there's available time, they should do consultation. But understanding, human being by nature, you react to situations as and when they come. These are armed people. Who knows the kind of, threat they were facing then. not trying to make a case for them, but these are the circumstances that one can fire without even consulting.
Okay.
Yes, in self-defense.
So if somebody fired in self-defense,
yes,
should your superiors abandon you in the cold? When a situation like this comes, so what should they just sit back and look at these people plunge into trouble?
But who is sitting back and looking at them plunge into trouble?
Because we have seen now the whole conclusion that these people are going to jail. I know even though the Justice Minister said they will prosecute, of course.
There's this presumption of innocence in this country, and it's very fundamental and sacrosanct. If you are accused of committing an offense, there's a process that you go through. And the process would, finalize before you are convicted. So we should not just close the chapter and say these people are going to jail. The court process would continue because it has already started. And then at the end of the day, the outcome would be known. It could be either or, So I think it is a bit premature to draw conclusions now.
Okay, so will police stand for their comrades, even though you are out of the police, but will you make some efforts to make sure that these people have a good legal representation?
I'm not in the police service now. I think they will definitely have a legal representation.
But in a normal police, will they, even though you are out, if a situation like this, so what do you think the police should do to stand for their officers?
Well, they will get all the support. I think even besides the police, in the event that they don't even have lawyers, the state provide lawyers.
You are a trained lawyer, a human rights lawyer.
Yes,
you are sitting at home. Would you volunteer and stand for these people at the court?
How about these people have all lawyers at their disposal? They have a lot of lawyers at their disposal who can defend them. And I don't think even the police need to come in here. But in the event some of them are indigent, that they cannot afford a lawyer, if they come out to tell the police, of course, they can make lawyers available to them. They may not be policemen, but they can facilitate lawyers coming to their rescue when it comes to the prosecutions.
But you will not be providing kind of...
No. What,
okay, now another concern many people are raising now. If a situation like this thing happen, what next? For example, when there is another riot somewhere, police might fold their hands and say, well, if we act here, what happens some further back can happen to us. So do you fear any security?
No, I don't have any fears. These people, like I said, they are going to be prosecuted at the end of the day.
No, what I'm saying here is it going to have an impact on a country's security when a police PIU officer is sent somewhere to provide security and realize that if I act in a certain way, what happens to these people can happen to me, even though I'm acting in self-defense?
Yes, but what is going to happen to these people has not ended. Like I said, the door is not yet closed. There is still an opportunity for them to be free. The thing is, what is important is that is why they're going to court, and I know it will be open to the public to know what happened, what transpired. At the end of the courts, every little bit of what had happened would be in the public domain. Even those police officers that you are talking about, if they get to know what happened, they will draw their conclusion that look, what happened because these people did not do what they were supposed to do, or they acted in self-defense. I don't think that would impact on their jobs, unless if they don't know what their jobs are. There are limitations to where you can stop in the execution of your duties. If you have doubts and concerns, you ask your superiors. There are things that you cannot do without orders. But for things that you do without orders because you are compelled to do them, or you are found in a situation like these officers, definitely you have to bear with the consequences until the air is cleared. And let me just remind you, they say murder strikes. Killing a human being is not a small thing. Even if you do it in self-defense, you do it by mistake, these processes you have to follow through them before you are exonerated. It's normal. It's normal.
It's normal. Okay, now, we all know a situation, these people were attacked by the villagers.
Yes.
And they also responded.
Yes.
You said you're not going to critique the commission, we understand. But do you think both sides will be culpable of these crimes? Because
of course, both sides are culpable. I heard the commission saying that all the VDC should be dissolved.
No, dissolving.
And all the people that are involved in vandalizing properties, the police should continue and bring them to book.
But as far as we know, nobody has been arrested from those people.
No, but the report just came out yesterday.
Yeah, but this incident has been going on for some time now. If you put police behind bars, at least those who attack the police also be arrested and put somewhere.
Yeah,
don't you think that's the proper way?
No. If you do that, probably you may want to preempt the commission. If at all those people were arrested immediately before the commission was set up, that's a different thing entirely. But for your information, well before the commission was set up, these police officers were arrested.
Who do you hold responsible for the whole problem? This entire trouble there?
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think no single person or institution is responsible for what had happened in Faraba. I told you, or I told somewhere, that if at all things were done the way they were supposed to be done, the police would not have even come into the picture. There's a whole lot of processes in terms of the issuance of license, a whole lot of offices involved. When it comes to the mediation process, you have a whole outfit in the region that could have taken care of this without us coming. But I said it somewhere, I had to call a meeting to invite all stakeholders to be able to see how best we can amicably settle this matter.
Why not you just go to the point and say who were responsible? Because you talk about processes, license, who are those people?
Well, I'm saying that there are government institutions. You've seen the commission, invoked some kind of measures against some institutions.
Okay, that is Geological Department, National Environment.
Yes, and a whole lot of even the Alcalo.
It's difficult to interview lawyers.
Local authority.
You have been thrifty with words here.
Thrifty with words like that. But this is an open secret. You know who and who are responsible, who and who have been affected by or impacted by the commission's report. The Alcalo of Faraba was mentioned, and the NEA director and the geology, definitely. I think this goes to tell you in a summary that these are all the institutions that were involved. Of course, the police got their share.
Could this thing have been avoided, the Faraba incident?
Yes, could have been avoided.
What was the best way to avoid this thing?
The best way to avoid this could have been, a serious mediation process. All the people involved from the grassroots to handle the matter amicably before it even gets out of the region. Talk less of going up to the level of the police.
And who's supposed to be mediating at it?
You have the local authorities in the region. You have governor's office. You have the village development committee, council of elders in the village. And of course, you have relevant ministries, which could have organized meetings to make sure this is kind of done away with. Well, it's not outside what we do as police officers, because of course, problem-solving policing, community policing involves interacting with the people and solving problems together. But then I'm not saying we should not have done it, but then it could have been done elsewhere to see to it that all the stakeholders involved are, put in one room and amicably settle this matter once and for all. Either people were underrating the outcome of the incident, or, they didn't regard it as very important. That is why we got to where we got to. But obviously, we would not have got to this level if at all measures were taken the way they are supposed to be taken initially.
This incident happened when you are IGP, you are a human rights lawyer, you have been in this police for a very long time. Do you think they will have a very bad picture or paint a bad picture in your career?
No, not at all. It's an unfortunate incident to have happened in my career. Like you rightly said, human rights is very dear to my heart. I have an LLM in international human rights law, and since I came to the police, I've been an advocate of human rights. During the Yahya Jammeh days, you heard of the Police Human Rights and Complaints Unit. I was the main architect. At one time, we were even told by our counterparts at the Ministry of Justice, oh, you people, you are the ones talking about human rights in this regime? Do you know we don't even have a unit at the Ministry of Justice? We said, yes. We got one, and we got the approval. I remember we even traveled to the UN regional office in Senegal, and we got 25 boxes of human rights resource materials. They came into the UNDP. Policing and human rights we distributed. We wrote to the Commonwealth also. The American embassy conducted a needs assessment for the office because they were surprised that an institution like the police is talking about human rights under that kind of a regime. So definitely human rights has been something that I've been working hard towards, especially policing and human rights. So definitely, like you rightly said, it's unfortunate that this is happening when I am the person who is, in charge of running the affairs of the police. With all what we had done to have the police compliant with regards to human rights. You remember when I was even getting my scholarship, one of the reasons why I got the scholarship, because the Chevening scholarship, you have to defend the reason why you think you have to be given, because they're very concerned in making a difference if you come back. One of the things that I put across is I'm going to study international human rights law. If I come back, I believe I'll be very resourceful in the police, because a lot of violations of human rights is done more out of ignorance than deliberate actions. So if I come back, I'll make the knowledge of human rights as widespread as possible within the police force. So when I came, I thought about this unit. We merged it with the complaint section. And then, we are doing a lot to make sure that we get the desired results of making all the police officers human rights compliant. A lot of resistance when we came. People were telling me this is not going to be possible, especially the old hands. This cannot work. Human rights and policing cannot go together. So yes, of course, this incident happening definitely, it's a great setback as far as some of those aspirations and dreams are concerned for me.
So finally, what do you have for people who still have doubt that you have a hand in it, but you have just been favored to be exonerated?
Who favored me? Why would I be favored? I never had a hand in this. Never.
Your hands are clean. My
hands are very clean. I have a clear conscience. If I go to bed, I sleep very well. When the investigation was going on, times that I had many people tell me, oh, how are you? I said, what thing? I said, look, I'm not being investigated. I'm a witness in the commission.
Yeah.
The people that have issues to answer are under custody. But for me, I'm like any other person who is appearing before the commission. So I think that was not clear. People thought, well, I am kind of put under a kind of house arrest, or my movement is restricted, So I don't go out to tell everyone this. This is what is the situation. But there was never a day that I went to bed without sleeping because I was thinking of this incident. Never. It never happened.
There are categories of sleeping. Do you sleep like a bear or just a mere sleeping?
Well, I know if you reach my age, sometimes you cannot sleep like a baby.
No, I mean a bear.
A bear, well, I don't know how a bear sleeps.
Several months.
So that is it. I think we are happy that it has at least come to a closure, because family and friends are concerned.
Yeah.
If I tell them, you don't need to worry, they say, no, but we need closure in this. We need to know what the outcome of this report is going to be so that we can all be at rest. So I receive a lot of calls. People will tell me, what next? Just like the questions you asked. I said, what next is in the hands of Allah. What do we do?
Let me ask you that question. Yes. What next for you now?
Well, actually, like I told you, I've moved on. I am a co-owner of a company that is hiring up to 120 people. And besides that, I have small businesses around. So I've been doing my thing, So what next? That question should not arise for me because I've moved on.
Now that you resign, like I said earlier, you resigned to give chance to investigators. They did their work and they found out that your hands are clean. You don't have any connection to this. Is it not right for you to go back? Is it not time for you to go back? How soon will you go back to police?
That is not dependent on me.
Will you go back to police, yes or no?
Like I told you, I think that is not for me to decide.
No, if the leadership decide that you should go back because you have no connection to this, will you go back?
We'll get the answer whenever I am approached to go back, either to the police or elsewhere. But I think the answer to that question is a bit premature now. If you would permit me, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Finally, what do you have for our viewers there?
What I have is, I think after my first interview with Kirfatu, a lot of people called me. Some sent me text messages, inboxes, to apologize personally for reacting without knowing what actually expired, or transpired, rather. So I think my take on that is people should not jump to conclusion. They should find out before they jump to conclusion. Sometimes some of those statements, they go very far.
Yeah.
They don't know, they destroy souls, by doing some of those things. I belong to a larger family. I am not, I myself don't worry much, but you see, I have friends, I have families. Because of some of those statements that people were not sure, but they just put them in the public domain there. They've caused a lot of trouble to friends and families that are dear to me. I think we should watch it. I've forgiven everyone, especially those who went all out to say that I'm implicated. Some even narrated stories that are very well unfounded. Some said, I'm related to Jula Kay. Yes, people said a lot of things.
That is your in-law.
Yes,
Some said it's
yes.
your in-law.
I could not even believe that these are coming from people.
But you are all from Badibu.
I got to know Jula Kay is from Badibu during this crisis, to be honest.
Okay.
Yes. I thought he was the Kudang Mariners.
Oh.
Yes. So I think this is it. I think this country, we need that. People should watch, what they say, especially in the social media and public domain. They should not draw conclusions, early conclusions, because it causes a lot of havoc. Yeah. I think this is it. Anyway, I've forgiven everyone who went all out to say things that are not true, as far as my role in this incident is concerned.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, viewers, that is the former IGP, Landing Kinte, who resigned because of the incident in Faraba Banta, but the reports or the commission findings have vindicated him. Now, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That was an interview with the former Inspector General of Police, Landing Kinte, who resigned as a result of the Faraba Banta incident. And viewers, that's all we have for you today from me and my team. We thank you so much. Till next week.